Hey, what's going on, guys? Joining me is Mir and Sonic Soul, and this is the aftermath video to the recent NA CPT 2020 Online East 1 tournament that just took place. And, I mean, we're going to talk about the tournament stuff, but really everyone wants us just to talk about the online controversy. I mean, that's mostly we're going to be talking about the format of it and the drama that we anticipated. And I don't know if you guys watched the EU version of the tournament, but the EU side, there was a little bit of drama. I mean, there was definitely some leggy matches, and there's the controversy of like how far some of these countries are between each other, and the regions aren't exactly consistent with each other on distance, which is inevitable. And Street Fighter V's netcode is going to be put to the ultimate test during these tournaments, and this is kind of a last resort. It's either this or nothing. But I knew for sure, guys, that I felt in my bones that the NA qualifier, there would be massive drama, and I was not disappointed. Not disappointed.
I will say though, props to Phenom on the EU side for calling out the situation. Basically, in his interview, it was pretty funny. I suggest everyone go watch it.
What did he say again? Like, just summarize it quickly for us.
Well, I mean, of course, he said how the online is terrible between Europe and the Middle East, and how the Middle East deserves its own qualifier because there's a really big scene there and there's a lot of good competitors.
Yeah.
And he also said something really funny about how he's gonna enter the next qualifier just to gatekeep.
Of course.
How he's probably gonna end up in grand finals anyway. So that's like the only thing he said about is that not like the two people from the Middle East won't be able to get in, right? Because he would be the other contender in the grand final.
Right.
Kind of funny.
That's funny, man. Yeah, so this tournament, man, oh, dude. Yeah, the top 16 was great, and the top 8 is basically where most of the drama started. But overall, what do you guys think of the tournament, just overall, before we start getting into it, the specifics?
I mean, I would say the competition was there, clearly. Like, there are
the characters
some really
were what we
players.
expected, a lot of them. Some G's, a lot of Urian,
Mm-hmm.
EU side, there's a lot of Vega, a lot of Rashid. But the characters seem like what we expect. No like Akuma representation. We had one Cage, but besides that, I mean, it was pretty straightforward. Nothing too crazy out of the blue, and the usual names too.
On my end, I think that the controversy actually started around top 16 with what Du had said.
Yeah, what was that
regarding the training stage stuff?
Yeah. Oh, right. I guess we can talk about that first if you guys want to. So I don't know if you guys been looking. The current talk is between a lot of the pro players want the CPT to enforce the training stage, right?
Yeah.
Which is the opposite of what it's like offline, where we want the training stage banned because it's just a boring ass stage that everyone plays, right? But on the online part, of course, we want the matches to be at their maximum performance. Now, I've been seeing a lot of confusion between people, like what people are saying. I'm seeing people say that, hey, it's online, you're just sending information. That stage should not matter on that. It's just reading your inputs or whatever. But I think people are getting kind of confused on the difference between lag and FPS and the netcode, the networking, and desyncing.
Well, I think first and foremost, right, in terms of this issue, it wasn't necessarily brought into the forefront initially because we did have online like qualifiers for this whole thing happening where we're stuck inside our houses. But before that, we had the option. Okay, well, do I play in the qualifier or do I just play in one of the 18 offline tournaments that we had or whatever for Capcom Pro Tour? But now, since we're forced to play online, we only have one option, and so everyone is narrowing in on it because they want the best optimal experience. And so that is why people now more than ever are complaining about it being we need training stages, more scrutiny than there was prior when we had the ability to play offline. Now, I'm sorry to cut you off, Mir, but I just wanted to also finish my point here. In terms of the lag and with how it works with stage lag versus playing on training mode and whatnot, me personally, I think there is, and there's evidence to probably show this too, that there is lag between stages as opposed to playing on training stage. That is why some players are choosing to just not want to play on any other stage but training stage, because there's lag clearly when you play on other stages like the China stage or the Forgotten Waterfall stage, and that affects FPS rate. When you play on PC, even if your PC isn't the best, then it's going to stutter and lag, and that's going to affect and carry over even with online, because your PC has to catch up to the other person.
Right.
Same thing if it was PS4. And with these rules that are implemented, I can understand why Capcom doesn't want training stage to be played on a advantage level, right? Because it's the same thing with like the Vega stage, where you could have Vega literally crawling up on the cage and whatnot. In this case, it's an advantage for both players because you could see the grid line, so you know the micro level spacing as to where you should be against someone else. That's what
people actually care about that? Do they actually people bring that up?
That's the argument that Capcom makes.
I don't
that's
believe
the argument.
No one's actually bringing that up.
This is with Street Fighter. This is with Street Fighter 4.
That's crazy.
This was with
Street Fighter. I thought that the argument was just that the stage was boring.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. The stage is just whack.
This was something that happened with Street Fighter 4.
That's some big brain shit. I never heard that before.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense. It's the same on both sides. It doesn't make any sense.
I know. I don't disagree with you, but the point still stands there, right? And that's why they have that stage illegal. But to be honest with you, if it means to make these matches have quality connections to where we can mitigate as much of the lag as possible, why would you deny players to play on training stage for online purposes when you know the game is going to lag in other stages? I don't think that people understand that there is lag, and I hope that in a future video we can.
Well, let me, Amir, unless I don't want to cut you off now, Amir, if you wanted to say something, but I'm going to go into this a little bit more. But
I just meant to say something really, really quick. I wanted to say, like, what Sonic said is a really important point. People are bringing it up now that it's important to have the best condition online, but it was a problem before. It's not a new thing.
Yeah,
like it's always been like this online, and so the fact that people couldn't play on the grid, which is exactly the discussion, was a problem before too, because it's not like lag came out of nowhere because everyone's at their homes right now because of this whole situation. So it's also a little bit sad that it required basically these big voices to voice out their own opinion to kind of show that there was a need for change here, right? Because like all those other people that tried to qualify in the online qualifiers had to play, under bad conditions up until now, assuming that anything changes, right?
Right.
So
yeah, exactly. I mean, this is what's been happening recently. Like I say, Capcom got hacked, and that has forced them to make adjustments to the netcode. I mean, this is 4 years later here, so yeah, if it's going to require something big to happen in order for action to be taken. But I want we should make some things clear though, like what we're talking about, just so people understand, just so there's not more confusion here. But like when we say train stage, we're not saying it's magically going to make the connections good. It ain't. They're just trying to mitigate it as much as possible. Where there's not another thing, that we know for sure there's inconsistencies with different platforms playing each other, whether it's PS4, PS4 Pro, or PC. And when we say stages cause lag, what we're talking about is some stages don't perform as well. We're mostly talking about the regular PS4. Literally some stages will literally drop below 60 FPS on certain stages. Even if it drops to like 57, 58 FPS for even a second,
still a big difference.
It still causes desync, right? It still causes desync, especially if you're playing against another platform like PS4 versus PC, right?
Even PS4 versus PS4 Pro, by the way, you can't assume that everyone has a PS4 Pro. Some people might be playing on PC, which is allowed. Right. You can play on PS4 Pro, which is allowed, and you can play on the regular PS4. People are going to have varying strengths, right, of console usage, right? You can try to assume that every player is trying to play on PS4 Pro, but that is unrealistic, in my opinion. It's unrealistic.
Yeah, of course. And it's not the player's fault either. This is Capcom's side that needs to be taken care of to make sure all the platforms are consistent. And another thing too, this is the reason why, like, when you alt tab on PC, it totally desyncs the person on the other side, because when you alt tab, you're taking off the priority on your whatever you're alt tabbing, and your FPS drops, and therefore you'd start desyncing, right? So that's just how it is. So that's what we mean when we say a stage lags. Like, there's obviously stages where, like China stage, for example, you're hitting the signs in the background. There's all these particle effects, right? or you know, the Shadaloo stage, or this like a bunch of NPCs in the background, whatever that's going on, a lot of movement. You can really see it on stages that are banned from CPT, like the beach stage. You know,
Yes.
are especially brutal. You can tell, and it's just some stuff that the mostly PS4. I think if everything was like standard, like PC versus PC or PS4 Pro, I don't think we would be that much difference on stages, honestly. But I just think the PS4 by itself is just not optimal from what I've seen.
Yeah,
I want to do some testing myself, but I borrowed out my regular PS4. I only have my PS4 Pro with me right now, so I can't test it. But I want to do some testing just to show you guys the difference. But
another thing that I feel like it's really important to remember too is that these kind of basically difficulties, connection difficulties, if you're gonna call them like that, and performance drops sometimes are just one-sided. Like even between two normal PS4s, you're not guaranteed that they drop frames in the same exact manner. So like sometimes you get some basically not visual artifacts, but inconsistencies in the way the netcode handles things that are just on one side, which is very difficult to spot, especially if you're not, you know, like recording your own matches, which is not something that everyone can do, right? So that you can. Yeah, so like there's always like some controversy there because it's difficult to prove sometimes that otherwise you'll get the classic response. Well, it was fine on my end.
Yeah, of course. Right? Like, here's the other thing too. Well, I mean, this is like the main topic is we're basically going to be talking about Metro and the players that quit as well, and I want to talk a lot about that and basically, I mean, I want to go one thing at a time though. Well, first, you know, one thing I want to talk about is Item being in the tournament itself. So I saw a lot of controversy over the fact that Item is already seeded for Capcom Cup. He's already the champ, right? And whether he's allowed to gatekeep or not, whether he's allowed to enter the tournament in the first place. Like, how do you guys feel about that?
Start.
Oh, go ahead, sorry. No, go ahead.
Oh, okay, I'll start. Personally, for me, I think that Idom being in the tournament by itself, you know, on one hand, you could argue that it interferes with seeding, right? Like, seeding is a big deal, right? It affects who is ordered within, you know, the CPT and who is able to fight who, right? Like, it affects character and player matchups and how people can approach, like, their next match and things like that, right? Like, seeding is important. And I run my own tournament on the side for Grand Blue, so I have experience trying to seed this stuff. And let me tell you, you have to seed to make sure that two top players don't run into each other in the beginning of your tournament. You have to make sure that two training partners or people that play each other a lot don't end up fighting each other in the same pool, in the same place in the bracket. So right. It's a lot of different factors that you have to consider when you're seeding a bracket to make sure that you have fair competition, you've weighted power levels properly, and that people get the equal amount of opportunity based on skill levels, right? But when we're talking fighting games, at the end of the day, what matters is your skill, right? Like, what matters is, well, how can you do against this person? I hear some rhetoric of people like, well, if I didn't have to face Idom, then I wouldn't have to have dealt with like Knuckle Dew in my bracket or something like that, right? I wouldn't have to lose to someone else in my bracket. And I have to just say, like, if you're going to join this tournament with the expectation of winning, you should prepare yourself for all players and all matches. It's not to say that I don't empathize with people that, you know, care about the seeding of the tournament, right? But I think that if even Idom was out of the tournament, these people would still have problems with other players within the bracket. And with Idom even competing in the tournament in the first place, the worst thing that happens is that second place gets the ability to qualify, right? And so I hear that argument, well, you know, if second place was able to qualify from this way, don't you think that messes up someone else's potential chance to get qualifying? Or doesn't that give another chance? But then you could argue, well, that second place spot that person got would have lost to that first place spot, right? So you open this can of worms here. Personally, I think if Idom is in the tournament, I think he should be allowed to play regardless. Like, I think he should be able to play against everyone the same way that everyone has a chance to do so, right? It's up to you to beat him. I don't think that Idom is unbeatable. So,
well, like I said, the main argument is, like I'm sure Mir is about to say, is that it's simply that he's already qualified. So why, if there's no money on the line, what is the point? Like, what does he gain from it, right? besides gatekeeping.
Yeah, but what I was about to say was more like along the lines of, at the end of the day, whether or not it's ethical for IDOM to actually play in the tournament, I don't think it matters, because the rule set here is that he's allowed to compete, and thus, if the rule set allows him to do it, then it's a rule set problem. Like, if you really want to discuss it, it's not IDOM's fault, basically.
Right.
Yes,
that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I might not agree or might agree. I don't even need to get into that, because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. If the rule set allows him to compete, then I don't see the problem.
You need to challenge Capcom with that, not IDOM.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
like, you have to go to Capcom and say, well, sorry?
That's the same situation in the training stage, though. People want Capcom to change the rules in the training stage as well.
Yes, of course. And I completely understand. I personally, for example, totally agree with the fact that the training stage should be not only allowed online, but enforced, because of what we've discussed before, the performance drops and all of that, right?
Yeah.
But as far as this item thing goes, like basically allowing him to play just to gatekeep, again, the official guidelines are that he can play, and so I personally don't think there's any room for discussion as far as like the current rule set is. And then you can say, well, we should change the rule set because I don't agree with people being allowed to enter just to gatekeep, and that's another kind of words, right? There's two different discussions going on at the same time,
which can both be solved the same way by talking with Capcom.
Right.
Yeah, and so basically, like, my point was that. Sorry.
Kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, of course. And basically, my point was just that, as it stands right now with the rules that we have, I don't see the problem.
Okay. Another thing too is this tournament, like I said, is everything we could ask for. Well, by the way, guys, I mean, this is a little late. I should have said this at the start of the video, but obviously, if you guys are watching this, spoilers. I'm sure you guys wouldn't watch this if you don't want to be spoiled on the results of the tournament, but I mean, the grand finals of this tournament was Vega versus Urian, and it had rage quits and teabagging. It was like, it doesn't get any more online than that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the perfect representation of an online setting. So it was very magical. So I guess we should talk about these rage quits and the big controversy of the tournament. It was mostly Metro, the Vega player, and there was a lot of complaints about his connection not being good. And I'm not trying to throw flack at the player, because I'm sure he's trying to play with the best connection possible for his area or whatever. And but it's, I guess what I want to talk about is if you guys thought it was professional of IDOM to leave the match, I guess. Because I think, well, no, because Chakotay, he left too in the middle of his match as well. But I guess we can talk about IDOM first, right? Because I think it's important to talk about IDOM first, because IDOM had nothing on the line, right?
Yeah.
So the way I saw it was, when he played against Metro, he already knew that his connection was poor. Now, IDOM, just to give some context, IDOM, like, he gets 100 win streaks online all the time. And he does it consistently. And that means he must run into a lot of leggy players. He just has to. I just don't understand how you wouldn't. And he only has, he said, 3 or 2 players on his blacklist, right?
And one of them is Metro.
And one of them is Metro, okay? So that shows that he has a pretty high tolerance for players that are leggy. It must be absurdly leggy or to the point of unplayable, where he's has forced the blacklist to see, you know what I mean? So, with that being said, the fact that IDOM literally refused to play him the other time and basically just give up the game, and literally just rage quit and just quit after Metro did that command grab sequence on him. Did you guys think it was unprofessional? Because the way I see it personally is that there's nothing on the line, right? There's nothing for him to prove, and the match was not fun or playable for him. And so it just simply was a waste of time. So he basically just said, okay, I just forfeit my match, basically. That's how I saw it.
First and foremost, you go, Mir. I've been taking this.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say that I feel like that once you agree to play a match, then you should play it until the end. And then, you know, if you have a problem, then, you know, like for example, after the first match, he realized that the game was lagging and he couldn't take it, like he couldn't play, then it's his prerogative to say that he doesn't want to play anymore, right? He forfeits the match.
Right.
It could be anything else too, right? Like it could be, you know, something's happening, my house is on fire, well, I have to forfeit the match, right? That could be another situation, and it would be absolutely understandable, right? You have your right to forfeit the match if you want. But once you have started, you know, playing, then kind of like quitting in the middle of the match is a little bit on the nose, I think. Like there was a little bit too much, you know?
Right.
Like you could have waited up until the end and say, okay, well, I'm unfortunately cannot play anymore because I'm not in the condition to play because of all this lag, and then I'm gonna leave. Right? Well, I think that's absolutely fine.
Right.
I think there's like being in the middle of the match is a little bit too.
I think there's a matter of perspective there. I think there's a matter of perspective there because that's what people are going to assume, right? They see that you quit. It wasn't really at the end. It wasn't really in the middle of the match. It was basically on the KO screen when he was done. Like
but I think he had one more set to play.
No, that's when he got stunned. I think that's when he. Quit.
No, no, it was the kill. Like
it was the kill. Okay.
Yeah, it was the kill.
Well, the match technically the match did end, but it did not go on.
But didn't he have to play one more set though? I'm pretty sure
he had to play one more set. Yes.
Yeah.
He had to play one more set.
Right.
But the point is him quitting, right? That perspective of him quitting, quote unquote, mid-match.
Right. That's true. We should give context to that.
He didn't quit mid-match. He quit at the end of the first game. But he did forfeited the set, right? He forfeited the set. And the reason why he forfeited it is because he deemed the connection to be unplayable. Now, for him to quit there at that point, right? For me, I think it was a matter of him protesting, right? I think it was a matter of him saying, hey, I don't like this condition. I think it's really bad for not just me, but for all the players that are involved. Right? I think that was what he aimed to say. I was in a voice call with him and everyone else from NLBC at the time, and Idom told me in the match as we were talking, I have Metro M on my blacklist, and I had to play him. And Metro M is extremely laggy, and I said several times I did not want to play him. So he did not want to play that match. But he knew that if he didn't, he would forfeit by default. And you could see from other tweets, like from someone asking Prototype, or Prototype asking, for instance, what happened, right? And that tweet, it shows the Discord chat where he's like, I don't want to play Metro M. I don't want to continue playing the set.
Right.
And you can see Vi literally saying, like, isn't there anything you could do, something that you could do to try and
ask to change the stage?
Exactly.
Implying the training stage. Yeah,
all things. And he's like, no, I don't want to do it. Right?
Now he won, but I mean, like some I can see why people are kind of upset about this because there's players out there that Idom took out, that gate kept successfully, that were there to compete all the way, and then this player that takes them out, leaves prematurely in the tournament. You know what I mean?
I would say that it also looked bad. I guess the fact that it kind of like desynced sets that not desynced, but like it almost looked like a rage quit, right? Because usually, I mean, I play lobbies all the time for Street Fighter 5,
right?
And so if someone leaves halfway through, like at the rematch screen, it doesn't do that. Like it just brings you back to the lobby,
right? You could have waited 2 more seconds, is what you're saying, basically, and it would have
because it looks very abrupt, right? It looks like he left out of because without context, right? Like someone that is watching, what is he going to assume, right? It looks like a rage quit.
He technically didn't lose because it was before. It was right on the KO screen, technically. He technically didn't lose. That is pretty much what the point of a rage quit is. So
yeah. So I feel like it's like from a spectator point of view, it definitely looked bad, I think. But as I said before, Idom has all the right to say I want to forfeit my match, right? It could be because of lag, it could be because of anything else. It's one of your rights as a player.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's a problem with that. And it's of course a statement that he forfeited the match because of lag and that it's another kind of worms again.
It was like when Angry
Birds.
But
it just looked bad
during the stage during the Capcom Cup. When he had problems with the setup. Right. Yeah. It's the only thing stuff is going to get done if there is some type of drama for it. So I wanted to touch upon that, and then the next one was Chakotay's match, right, against Metro as well, and he left in the lobbies, right? I mean, it went to the commentator screen, and then they were talking, and then you heard the the disconnect sound. And then Chakotay
Yes.
didn't come back, and then he forfeited his match. That was after 2-0 something?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you remember, Sonic?
It was after 2-0, yes.
Yeah, but they played once already before that, didn't they? That was the double jeopardy, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, they have. So it's weird that he, quit afterwards, after their second time they played.
I don't know where El Chakotay is located in juxtaposition to where Metro M is located, right?
Yeah, but they already played each other once. So what I'm saying is, if there was an issue before,
it would have happened.
Why didn't he forfeit before? Is what I'm saying.
And I understand that. That's what I'm saying. In comparison to IDOM, where he actually lagged with Metro M, and you can prove that
he was
Metro
protesting
M
before they even played, right?
Yeah, Metro M proved Metro M playing with IDOM. It proved because he also played with people at NLBC. He's banned from NLBC play, right? So there's obvious connection issues with him versus New York. So I wonder if Chakotay had any issues with him in terms of connection.
Right.
Because
I guess we should clarify that he's banned because of connection issues and nothing else.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He's banned because of connection issues.
Right.
Yeah, it's nothing that has to do with the players, just the connection.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
But I mean, this I feel like is a different situation, and I feel like El Chakotay has been called out on Twitter and by other people that it's like, oh, if you if you felt like the match was laggy, then you should have said it outright the first time you played against the player, right?
Right.
So it does feel a bit strange that first time because there's no problems, and then second time is like, oh well, I'm losing and it's laggy. I'm gonna just leave, right? So it does feel strange. Now, I'm not implying anything here.
Yeah, of course.
But it's clear that some people caught on to this discrepancy, I guess, and called them out on Twitter, for example.
Right.
So yeah, again, it's his right to forfeit for whatever reason, right? It could be because I don't know, he left his oven on or whatever. But yeah, it definitely looks it looks weird on a spectator side, right? Because you don't have the whole context.
Right. Now when Metro ran into Mandrake, is it Mandrake or Mandrake? I don't know. They're the commentators. I don't know if they're doing like inside jokes or what. But damn, I'll just say Mandrake. Well, and I'm sorry.
It's just pretty interesting.
I'm just sorry if I pronounced it wrong. But when he was playing him, he was like, well, first he reset it, and there was a lot of sus things going on, guys. Like there was one time he set up the reflector, and Metro literally just jumped forward, and then you see him back up and like just stare at him as he landed in front of his face, and then he did an EX wall dive, and then he hits his heavy kick anti-air so absurdly early and completely whiffs it and gets blown off for it, right? There's a lot of it's really odd. Like, dude, it's online tournament. Like I don't think anyone's surprised by that. There's a lot of things where you're like, you notice like, hey man, there's obviously lag here. There's a lot of dropped combos and weird sketchy like frame traps hitting and stuff like that. And
the online,
it was really obvious. And then all of a sudden like then it also just starts teabagging. And you could tell it's just like, I don't know if it was just, getting into the match or if there was lag on his side or whatever, but it was after the reset of the bracket. But you can tell there was just things were getting heated,
The teabags, the raw headbutts, the up in your face EX tackles.
Oh, it was beautiful, man. He landed so many of the what's the move called when Vega jumps off the wall and claws you straight? But
was it the sky?
Oh, the new move that
one
they added. Good question.
He had massive success rate, like 80%.
I will go look it up while we talk about.
Yeah, go ahead, look it up. It's basically like the EX dolphin dive in Vega's repertoire. Like,
and he would do it when Magic or anyone else actually was cornered. Like Metro M would have them in the corner, and then he would just do this new move, like literally, like as an immediate left right.
The left right is fast. I mean, even if you're offline, that'd be tough to block. But it was so he just did it so often. It was so consistent, right? I just had a good laugh. Like after you see it land like 5 times, like damn. Man. And like I said, Urian's charge hard kick, I saw that land 5 times in the EU online tournament. 5 times. That thing's like 30 frames, man. 30 frames to block. He was using his actual overhead.
Eight frames online, baby.
26, but still, yeah, that's pretty slow.
26. That's actually pretty fast for how slow it looks. It's really telegraphed. I don't know, but it's slow.
Like, yeah, for sure. Like there's clear things. A classic is the knee drops, right? The urine knee drops, which are like just giant hurt box coming at you. Pretty easy to anti-air, but still, like online, well, good luck with that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. So, yeah, there's been
Sky High Claw. That's the name.
Sky High Claw.
Sky High Claw. That's an awesome name too for that. Yeah, that move is
Sky High.
Sky High Claw. The mix-up. That move is a mix-up in itself. That move is godlike, bro. But like I said, I don't want to make Urian sound so innocent because he's got his own. Like I said, it was Unga versus Bunga when it came to that grand finals.
The Unga mentalist, baby.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't want to make it sound like both players are bad because both players were obviously good.
Oh no, offline. I think both.
Yeah, both players are obviously very good. Like, I especially loved watching Urian all the mix-ups on the V-Trigger. So there's a lot of cool shit during the tournament. That was awesome to watch. But it's just funny because of the controversy of the online at the same time, right? It's what everyone's focusing on. Right? How many times can Urian get away with dash? How many times can Vega get away with command grab?
It's just so perfect because it's exactly like what we all make fun of.
Yeah, it's a meme.
Online Street Fighter. It's like, what is bad about online, right? We have Urian players dashing around. We have Vega players dashing around. We're doing the back and forth, which like totally screws with the rollback. Yeah. Then you have, people not being able to stop dashes, people not being able to anti-air, people dropping combos now, especially with the new and improved rollback, which actually screws with your
improved too.
People teabagging, people
rage quitting, like everything.
It's just literally everything. It's literally it's perfect.
It's magical online bingo.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Magic. That's what I'm saying. Like I could not have imagined it any better than this. Like this is crazy. I can't wait for next weekend too.
And I feel like this is unfortunately. I mean, of course it is a problem, but I mean, like all these players that are trying to qualify, right? I feel like some of their worth is kind of like being discredited right now because it's like, oh, it's just online. These guys are doing online stuff. This wouldn't work offline, right? All these kind of discussions when I'm sure that a lot of these players would be able to just perform well, even in an offline scenario. I mean, it might not be the same. Actually, it's definitely not the same. But I'm sure that like these people were playing to win. Like these people were playing to win, right? So I can't believe that people that were playing online would, employ online tactics, right? Especially if you're trying to be qualified, if you're trying to win.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna try to follow up on that as well. First of all, discrediting any of these players that played today online or played for the entirety of the CPT online so far, discrediting them is a disservice to them because at the end of the day, again, as Mir said, they came to win. I do think if they have to employ online tactics, that's another factor in trying to get the win. I don't disagree with people employing online tactics. If you know it's going to lag, you're going to make the best of it. You're going to make what's the most optimal decision for yourself. In an offline setting, you're doing the same exact thing. What is the best situation that is going to secure me the win or optimize the chances of me winning?
For some reason you said that, I just imagine playing the arcade and there's like this dude who's like always has his shoulders too close to you and he's slowly nudging you as you play.
Oh yeah. He's gonna find this. He's gonna find a specific tab that has like one of the buttons not working.
Yeah, dude, I remember you always fight over left side, dude. That shit
exactly. I'm telling you. A perfect example actually was Goichi versus Sonic Fox. Remember Dragon Ball Fighters?
Oh yeah.
Where they fought over who was first place and
That's
second.
right,
who
man.
was
It's a
first
big
player
deal.
and second player. It doesn't matter whether it's offline or offline. The competitive spirit is still there for these players.
Right.
They're going to do anything to win. So discrediting these players and their heart to try and like play in their situations, I think it's just a disservice to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, guys,
it's perfectly understandable too, because if you are going to be the honorable one and not going to employ online tactics, you have no guarantee. You have no guarantee that the other one is not going to do it.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
The prisoner's dilemma, baby.
Guys, let's talk about the actual tournament though. Who's your favorite player to watch? I really like watching. Was it Koji? The Cody player.
Hoji. Oh,
Hoji,
snap.
yeah.
Hoji,
Dude.
by the way,
Dude.
Red Storm, that's my dude, bro. Red Storm, yo, on Twitter, Sako and I think another person, they were saying, yo, Sako was really like, my, to Hoji's Cody. He was saying his Cody was delicious.
Oh,
like,
dude,
it's ridiculous.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, dude. I'm like,
Red Storm.
I was getting hyped, dude. I was getting hyped watching him, man. I feel terrible that he ran into but not just Item, but Item's poison. You know what I'm saying? Because like, damn, matchup looks bad.
So bad.
Not only does that matchup look bad, but it's Item playing poison on top of that.
Of course.
So it's like, bro, it's you know, pack it up. Like, it was brutal. Because I'm like, the chat was asking me, is this a bad matchup for Cody? And I'm like thinking about Crouching Fierce beating like EX Knuckle. I'm like, yeah, this looks bad, dude. Like, it was rough. He tried using V-Trigger 1 knife. And I get what he was trying to do, but like it just seemed just so hard even with that. Maybe if he did more EX tornadoes canceled into reload, then try to use that as pressure to get in, but god, that matchup looks bad. You could definitely see Cody's flaws there, but he made V-Trigger 2 work.
You know what's wild too? I know I've seen these two play offline at NOBC.
Oh yeah, I bet that's why he tried V-Trigger 1 probably. But like he was landing the command grabs, perfect timing every single time. It was awesome, man. Good confirms, huge damage corner combos all the time. It was really entertaining to watch. Definitely my favorite player to watch that tournament.
Got you.
I don't know. I really liked Mendrix here because he definitely. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely. Again, he got the best out of the character in the situation, right? But it was definitely on point. Like in general with his setups and the way he was pressuring the opponents and stuff. Even you know the whiff punishing online, which is commendable.
Yeah.
Because I know how horrible it feels when you land that standing heavy punch in the extended limb and then it rolls back to a block and you're like, oh, and you're just tackling into them.
Standing mean punches too. He was landing. Yeah.
Really yeah. Like so, the fact that he could do that consistently, you know, clearly, it was good. It was really enjoyable to watch. I would
really
say.
Good comebacks, man. What about you, Sonic? Who'd you like watching that tournament?
Yo, it's obvious, bro. Who do I play?
What do you like?
I like Idon.
Oh,
I like
this
Idon.
guy.
Of course, I like Poison. I like watching play. Of course, I'm biased. Like, he's NLBC. I was literally talking to him. Yeah. So like, I know. Yeah, I know. Like, watching him play, like, it's impressive. Even you got mixed up by a mix-up that I've showed on this channel already when he does, you know, combo into V-Trigger activation, and then he'll do light kick, shocking heel, throw the Molotov forward, EX medium whip, throw the Molotov up, and just as you're getting up, he'll wait for a split second, and then he'll cartwheel to make it a left-right on
the left-right. I saw that. I'm like,
and I love it. Every time I see it, I'm like, that's the cheap stuff.
Okay, what about the EX heart rate into the EX flip kick? Come on, man.
Oh, of course.
Come on, bro. That is literally urine EX shoulder into EX headbutt. That's that level.
And you know
EX lightning legs and the EX spinning bird kick, bro.
You know the best part, by the way, about that? It's a throw bait because it's airborne, it's overhead, and it's only -4.
For days. Yeah, but plus
it's basically exactly like the fact that it's already really difficult to block offline. Imagine online.
Oh yeah, where you want to react to it, it's just like jury split
impossible.
Kick, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And she can
24
space
frame, 24 frames are just like,
and she can space it.
Yeah,
she can space it so that way it becomes safe. So it becomes hard for Japs to touch it.
And 24 frames doesn't look like 24 frames. She's like on the ground for 10 frames. It's like the stupid Alex's EX Stampede. It reminds me of that.
Oh my god. EX Stampede. Jesus.
But we should have seen more Alex's in this online tournament. It would have been fun.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Well, we still have more NA tournaments to come though. So at least we got one seed with Mandrake. And dude, that means we have more Urians. So it's gonna be a hoot. Gonna be a lot of good comebacks at the CPT. We have to see how they're gonna do it because, like I said, with Capcom at the CPT, I think Capcom's just betting on things slowing down, especially with planes and such, and maybe they can have it offline. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everything has to be online again, because then that's gonna be a problem, right? So, but I'm honestly, man, like even with this drama and all of that, I'm still so happy that the tournaments have started and there's something to watch, and it's nice to see high level play. You know, at the end of the day, I'm happy about that. There's a lot of people that were watching with me, and it was still really hype. We had a lot of laughs, of course, because no one's taking it super seriously, but it's still very, very entertaining to watch. And I really hope
it needs it right now. That's what the game needs right now.
Yeah, and I'm glad there's people are spreading the awareness to Capcom, and hopefully Capcom can see, you know, and anticipate this in the future if we're ever in this situation again, right? I mean, like, that's one thing that really holds back fighting games from competition, is that we do have to fly everywhere to play each other, and you know that's just not realistic in terms of trying to grow the scene as a whole, you know, to that esports level. And so this is just a sample that, hey, we're not ready. At the end of the day, we're not ready, you know.
Clearly not.
Clearly not ready.
I mean, new and improved netcode, that's all well and good, but it's not enough.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, the fact that, you know, like we talked about that before, but just the fact that Evo, you know, when you look at the tournaments that are actually open to the public, Street Fighter 5 is not there, so that's a tell too.
Yeah, man.
Right, like you have KI, you have all these games with great netcode, but there's no Street Fighter 5 in there. I wonder what that means.
Oh man. Anything else you guys want to talk about the tournament itself?
I mean, like you said, it was just very enjoyable to watch, just because it's been so long since we actually seen competition, basically. So we kind of been sitting on a lot of tech, I would say, from the beginning of the season. People trying to figure it out, never got a chance to apply in actual matches. So yeah, like that was definitely exciting, you know, to see people try something new again. And look forward to more tournaments for sure. Otherwise, I mean, the rest was pretty self-explanatory, I would say.
It was
just hilarious to watch.
It was hilarious to watch. Yeah.
For me, I think the best part of watching these tournaments come back is online. It's online. Just seeing the magic happen. I'm just like, yeah, all these players are gonna have to worry about the online like me. Oh man. It's
important in the future that Capcom somehow has a way that's like, it checks your connection to make sure it's stable enough for play, kind of like what Mortal Kombat does. And if there's some type of desyncing or whatever, it should be noted somewhere on the screen, especially for the spectators, that you know that something is wrong.
Yeah.
That way, you know, there's no foul play, right? Especially during the match, because, you know, you can kick your router at any point here. I can drop kick my router. I can hit the alt tab.
Yeah, you got to show the caution sign with the Ethernet.
Right, you should show it in real time. There's a lot of, like I said, Street Fighter 5 is pretty outdated in terms of like somewhat other fighting games do it, in terms of not communication but information on what's going on right during the match. So
I guess another thing that's important to mention here is that like all of these people that have been playing online and, you know, have varying connections, right? Yeah, that's another problem with the Street Fighter 5 netcode, but in general with many netcodes from various games, is that you're not guaranteed that the relative connection between two players is going to be good. Even though they both have good internet, it could be because their ISPs, you know, don't match up pretty well, like especially in certain games. Like they might have a relatively bad connection with each other. Like, for example, I have people in my own city that I cannot play with because they have, you know, like closed NAT, and it's forced by their ISP or whatever, right? They cannot open certain ports, and I just cannot play with them. And they're literally like 2 kilometers away, right? And there's people that I can play in other countries in Europe that are perfectly fine, that have great connections with me, and they don't have, you know, the same, right? Like you'd expect that someone in your city would have good connection, but it's not guaranteed. And this is what I'm trying to say here. It's even if the players have good connections and then, you know, they can do the speed test or whatever, you have no guarantee that the match is not going to be lagging, right? So it's just a situation of the online that is, again, ancient, basically. So it just requires either a complete new netcode or, you know, wait for the next game and that's gonna have good netcode, hopefully.
Right. Yeah, I really hope, because Capcom's focusing so much on esports now, and they are one of the first to try out, in terms of these Japanese AAA fighting games, where they were one of the first to try out rollback netcode. They gave it a shot, and hopefully they're not discouraged by it and figure out the way to do it, properly and get it to work best as possible. That's what we hope for, man. But yeah, enough chit chat, guys. Thanks for joining me for this little aftermath talk, and till the next tournament, hopefully there's more drama. There's gonna be drama, guaranteed, dude. Guaranteed.
You'll find us here talking about it, guaranteed too.
Oh yeah, guaranteed. Yeah, let us know what you guys think about all the topics we talked about, guys, in the comment section. In terms of gatekeeping, in terms of should you leave during your match or after the match, and in terms of the training stage. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts on the matter. But until next time, guys, peace.